You'll never buy your first loadout, in other words. That's how this is different than Warzone 1, unless you're down tremendously, because you're just going to do a stronghold instead, or just get the free drop in second circle instead, because those things will both happen far before you get 32k, besides doing a stronghold that early. But I don't know how that translates to solos, duos, and trios, particularly solos and duos. Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We've got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are live. Welcome, pigs, to the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast, episode number 289. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today, I am joined by, not wearing a sweater for the first time in a while, Tanner. Dropshot.
Oh,
How's
one's
going,
coming
Tanner,
on. It's getting pretty cold here, yeah.
You have to pop that sucker on, or what?
Surely, yeah, at some point.
Why isn't it on now, man?
I have to wash it. I spilled food on it yesterday eating some Alfredo. Got a bunch of Alfredo sauce on the arms. So
oh, okay. So in that case, I would also wash it, by the way. You think? Just for the record. If I spilled Alfredo sauce on it, yeah. Interesting. That's what you told Sierra anyway, right? Wink, wink. Alfredo sauce, wink, wink.
Surely, yeah. Yeah. It flings up so much, man. Just flings everywhere.
It actually does, though. That's true. Yeah, that'll happen. Shout out to Alfredo sauce. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the program. Today, we are not talking about Italian cuisine, although we might as well, because there isn't much else to go over today. But we do have a couple little fun and exciting tidbits to share with you all. But before we get into that, a couple of announcements. First of all, if you're a new listener, we have timestamps. You can go look at that and skip to a segment you want to hear, if that's your jam. And as some of you may have noticed, we have an updated introductory song. An updated intro piece.
Yes.
Now, the music is the same. It's the same piece of media there. But we had friend of the pod, Boopsy, the creator of the last intro, DM us in February saying, hey, made you guys a new intro, but I don't like all the voice lines in it because they're too unrelated to Call of Duty. So I'm going to make it again with better, more COD related voice lines. And then the first thing I said was, keep the first goddamn line in. And he said, oh, of course, I'm not removing that. And I wouldn't do it even if you asked. And I said, okay, good. So we're off to a good start. So then 10 months later, Steel Switch said,
fuck you, Boopsy.
With no comms. Steel Switch said, it's weird that there's nothing about COD in the intro except the first line. And I was like, yeah. And then I added Boopsy, spit gift him. And then he was like, all right, I'll do it right now. And then he did it right then. Which is actually a real pain in the ass. And one of the reasons we didn't do it ourselves is because getting a bunch of voice lines and clipping them out and putting them into a song, it's a bitch. It's a pain in the ass. It's not that it's hard, it's just time consuming. Because you have to find a line, download the whole fucking thing, and then go to that timestamp, cut out the 2 seconds you want or whatever and put it in. So it's a lot of work. And Boopsy offered to do it. We offered to pay him and he said no. He's like, no, this will be he said it was a birthday present to me because this was in February.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Happy birthday, man.
So I was like, all right, well, I guess if you want to. So that was very kind of him. Shout out to Boopsy. And let us know how you guys like the new intro. I quite like it. I think it's a step up. I do like that it's more COD related.
Yeah.
And that the iconic first line is in there.
This is somewhat a Call of Duty podcast, so that is good.
Yeah, somewhat. So yeah, that is good. So shout out to It's Boopsy, friend of the program, longtime listener, a king, for that new intro. And let us know how you guys like it. Patrons have already heard it, but this is our first time unveiling it for the public. So anyway, moving on. Got a couple announcements, but first, welcome to our new gold patrons, Troy B. I don't know what that last name is. Nicholas F. and Michael S. Boys, welcome aboard. The Patreon, our new gold patrons. We also got an upgrader, Dylan, going from gold to platinum. He got the content and he wanted more of it, so he upgraded. Shout out to you, Dylan. Thanks for the upgrade, King. Shout out to Dylan. Very kind of you, sir.
Dylan, yeah.
And our new YouTube members, Scary Harry, Boogie Boogie 4321, Evil Cynic, and Ringer. New YouTube friends of the pod. Patreon.com/the Dropshot. Thanks for all of our new patrons. We offer 5 bonus eps a month. We do monthly hangouts. We do some other things here and there as well. If you want all the details on that, you could go to patreon.com/the Dropshot. The best way to support the show for you and for us. Or you can go to thedropshot.com, find a link to the Patreon and everything else there. That is our little hub, which we've updated and we will continue to do so. The website is almost done with the overhaul. Once it is, we will, of course, let you guys know and talk all about everything that's changed there. But it's functional. So if you go to thedropshot.com now, you can see it in its mostly completed state. And it looks a lot better too, particularly the homepage. But thanks to all our new patrons. Thanks to our new YouTube members. Speaking of the Patreon, we've done a couple Patreon eps this week. We're doing one more on Friday. The one we're going to be doing on Friday is about a storm inside of our stupid heads. We're going to be doing another brainstorm, I believe, about Warzone. And I'm actually, as I alluded to in our last Patreon episode, very fucking excited to do that Patreon episode because I already have some notes written down of things I'm thinking of trying, want to try. I might even update that document once, like after today or tomorrow after I play more, because I'm probably going to try some of these things out. I'm very excited to get into that particular brainstorm, but that we're recording on Friday. That's going to be available for all patrons probably Saturday or Sunday. But we have also completed some Patreon episodes that are now live. I think on Monday or Tuesday, we did a fairly different type of episode. We covered hot takes that were occurring on the TL. And that was received better than I anticipated. What were your thoughts on that absolute episode, Tanner?
Yeah, I think people like those things because, like, one guy said, somebody said in Twitter, like, I don't have Twitter, so it's interesting to like see all these takes that these other people have. You know, that they otherwise wouldn't know about. So it was mostly about them seething and whatnot. So I thought that was good.
Yeah. It was just us kind of going through the popular, we don't have the notes anymore, but going through a lot of popular creators and their takes on MW2, Warzone 2, etc.
Yeah.
And talking about the merits of the takes or lack thereof. It was a really interesting topic. It's cool to do that too, because it allows us to talk about certain things we don't normally talk about, because as is the case with everything, I mean, different people think about and care about different things. And
yeah.
Your camera isn't working, Tanner.
I turned it off for a second. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're good though.
And that's cool to do sometimes too, because you know, people will tweet about things like I didn't even think of because I don't care that much or just didn't come to the forefront of my mind. But sometimes they'll tweet about something I don't care about and I don't think is important, but it gets a ton of traction. So it's obviously important to a lot of people. So then it's like, maybe we should take a closer look at this or something, you know? I really enjoyed that episode. And then we also recorded our season 1 Reloaded first impressions, sort of. It was like first and a half impressions. Because normally we do first impressions like the day after an update. But this time we did it a couple days after season 1 Reloaded. And that was a really good episode too. I really enjoyed doing that one. That is actually going to be going public on Saturday. So we'll talk more about that, or you guys will hear more about that on Saturday. But we have a premiere scheduled on YouTube for that episode to go live, as well as on podcast apps right at 12 p.m. Saturday. That episode will be hitting your guys' feed. And I enjoyed that quite a bit. It's mostly similar to the first impressions we always do.
Yeah.
For new big patches, but it's a little different because we went off the beaten path a fair bit. One thing we talked about for a lot of the time was whether or not Warzone 2 has a skill gap. And I thought that was a fruitful, interesting discussion. And I enjoyed that episode a lot. It was a little different than a normal first impressions episode.
Yeah, it was it was similar though in most ways to a first impression, because we aren't going to be able to do one this week because we'll be gone. So but yeah, I think that was a banger too. And then of course we also had the recorded 3 this week. We had the behind the scenes episode go out as well. So got a lot.
Oh yes, we did.
Yeah. A lot of episodes out this week. I'm very excited to do that. The brainstorm tomorrow. Because the few changes we've seen last week are actually pretty drastic changes when it comes to like loadouts, stuff like that. So I think that'll be a banger as well. Yes. Sure. I have to sign for my Amazon order that has alcohol that was supposed to be here 2 hours ago. So you can keep going though.
Okay. So yeah, those are now on Patreon. Those are both live. Once again, that season 1 first impressions Patreon episode, we're putting that public on Saturday. Every once in a while, we'll do a Patreon gone public episode, and it serves a couple of purposes. Number one, sometimes Tanner's out of town or I'm busy. Mostly Tanner's out of town, but just the way things work sometimes, especially this month with Christmas, I'm moving. Tanner's going to be gone. And instead of recording an additional episode, kind of repurposing a Patreon episode, save a little bit of time. Because I'm very busy this week and will be until the move, really. So kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone there. But also it's cool because it gives those of you who are not patrons a chance to see what a Patreon episode is like. Because they really are fairly different than the public episodes. We get a lot more space to get a lot more precise with our topics. Because if we do 2 episodes a week, and one of them is about news and upcoming changes, that's like 1 episode a week on Saturdays where we can go into like deep dive into like a particular thing. And with Patreon, we do that 3 more times per month. And we can go really granular on very precise topics, which I think there's a lot of benefit to, you know. Like if we do like a multiplayer brainstorm, we can talk very specifically about what attachments should you use on which guns, on which maps, and why for which game modes. And I think there a lot of people, particularly those of you who actually play the game, you know, get a lot of benefit and utility out of. And putting a Patreon episode public allows for us to showcase what that's like for those of you who are not patrons or are undecided. So it's kind of a nice little advertisement for the Patreon. But that's going to be going live Saturday. If you are a patron, it's already up. So you can go listen or watch right now, in fact. So besides that, a couple other little announcements here. We've gotten some more Christmas presents in the in the form of cash. So this first one is from Pat O. Guess what that is? He says, "Happy holidays." Don't say happy holidays to me, by the way. Say Merry Christmas like an American, Pat. Okay?
He's Canadian.
Well,
Maybe
fuck
he means
you.
Happy New Year's, too.
I'm American.
Happy New Year, man.
Fuck the New Year. It's not a holiday. It's a calendar change. It's not
technically a holiday.
It doesn't count. What do you do on New Year's?
I don't care what you think. It's a federal holiday.
Oh, well, fuck the Fed. I don't care what the Fed thinks.
Yeah, that's actually a great point.
Like, people, you do shit on holidays. Unless you're a sorority girl, you're not doing anything on New Year's. You know?
Something on the New Year every year. But yeah, man.
What do you do on the New Year?
Going to a party this year at a friend's house. One of Sierra's friend's house. New Year's Day usually have like... No, of course not. Doing like a... I
feel like that's the only parties you go to.
No. It's a wedding friend.
Oh.
Photographer friend. And then usually on New Year's Day itself, it's like cook a nice dinner or something. That's usually what we do. Or go to my parents or my sisters or something. A lot of times they'll do something. So yeah, sorry your family just doesn't love you. Sorry,
my family loves
Sorry
to
your mom
sleep
is
at a
probably
reasonable
usually
hour.
working on New Year's.
That's what they do. Yeah, and making $500 an hour.
Making
She's not disappointed,
8 times
trust me.
her normal rate, yeah.
She's out of there. Anyway, Pat said, happy holidays. Again, don't say that to me. Thank you for all your hard work this year. I'm glad to have stumbled sick upon you guys. Good luck on the move, Raz. Love, Pat O. Unicorn Horn, which is his name in the community. Don't judge my daughter picked my gamer tag.
That's cute,
okay.
then.
I like that, yeah.
Serviceable.
I'll take that. P.S. Spit GIF. So that was his message accompanying 50 United States dollars.
50
Holy
boners.
shit,
Holy
man.
shit.
Very generous
Thanks,
of Pat O. Going to the dropshot.com and clicking on the support/donate button and inserting 50 United States dollars. Thank you for the kind message. And more importantly, thank you for the money, dude. Very kind of you. I appreciate that. And this will help the move somewhat. Although $50 isn't going to pack my computer up, is it? But why don't you come out and figure that out for me instead?
Wants
you
you to
want to
pack
help
him.
with the move. You know?
Pack him up, Pat.
Pack my shit up, Pat. Anyway. Pat, thank you very much, for real. $50, that's a lot of money. Very generous and very kind of you. Also, we got another donation, another little Christmas present from Rob JDC. Rob JDC. Don't worry about it. Bonus eps are fire. Glad to be a part of the community. Take joy in the fact that this dono was taken away from my kids' Robux spend. That's fantastic. I love taking money from children. So I do take joy in that, and thank you for mentioning it. Merry Christmas, boys. Thank you. Again, Rob. I appreciate the solid work you put in. And accompanying this very kind message was also, again, 50 United States dollars. Holy shit. I like this trend, Tanner.
Kings, yeah. I enjoy
the
Pat
$50
O, and I
dono
enjoy
friend.
Rob. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
I
people.
enjoy robbing
Better
Rob.
than the
That's
average
what I
listener,
enjoy.
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, significantly. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Shout out to
Rob
them.
as well, thank you very much for the kind words. Merry Christmas to you also. And for the $50, which is, again, quite generous. We really appreciate it, both of you boys. Thank you very, very much. You're absolute kings.
Yeah.
And we got some other items,
We did. So,
which is insane.
yeah, so we'll get to that in a second. First of all, I wanted to thank Nicole and Grinder. They sent us a cute little Christmas card. Their little... Oh, it says holiday wishes. Should I not thank them?
Rip it up.
Oh, wait,
Rip
but it
up
also
on
says
camera
Merry
now.
Christmas and Happy New Year. Okay, see, that's serviceable.
Okay,
Hitting us with
that's
all
fine.
three. Hitting us with all three. There we go.
That's very inclusive.
Just an adorable little family photo there. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys thinking about us, as always.
Nicole, if you want us to show the photo, we will.
I'm not
Or
going
if
to
you
dox
don't
her
want us
child.
to.
Yeah.
Well, it's up to her.
Yeah.
Anyway, let us know, Nicole.
But anyways,
yeah,
the
we'll-
crazy thing was, I received that because I was told to go to the post office. Could you believe that I went to the post office?
Yeah, I was shocked. I was
Yeah.
shocked and awed.
So I got a message this morning from Dad Tickle, aka what does he go? Hus Beast Manufacturing.
He's the mechanic from Escape from Tarkov. Is what he is.
He's Tarkov
He's got an
mechanic.
absolute arsenal. Yeah.
He's got a few things, yeah. So he DM'd me earlier this week, and he's like, "Hey, I'm sending someone to the PO box." I'm like, "Sure you are." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to send you the tracking." And I was like, "All right, well, if it's something that I have to give Raz, send it ASAP because he's moving at a time." He's like, "Yeah, I'll send it out this week." He shipped it. He's like, "Oh, it's supposed to be there Friday." Turns out I got here today. So I couldn't fucking believe it. I had to search around for 10 minutes for my PO box key and had no idea where it was. Finally found it. I go down there. Kid you not, couldn't remember where the PO box was. It's been so long. Finally found it.
It's been a long time.
Opened it up. Jesus Christ. Cobwebs. There were rats living in there, cockroaches. It was just desolate in there. Full of junk mail. Nothing but fucking junk mail, man.
Yeah.
Just stuffed to the brim. Our reminder to renew the P.O. box from July 31st was in there, of course, because I haven't checked it since then. Because you guys don't send us thing.
Because you guys
send
are
us
shit.
anything.
All of you listening are shit.
So I couldn't believe it, but
yeah.
we received 2 things in the P.O. box this year, and I picked them both up today, yeah.
Just
so
insane.
Pretty fucking crazy.
So what did he send
Sure, I'm
us,
glad
man?
we have
you
that.
You still haven't told me.
So let's I kind of opened it up beforehand. We're going to first read the note from Dadtical.
Note, huh?
It says, "Dear Wheelin' and Shrimp in White Sauce." Lovely. I've been listening around episode...
Wait, what is wheelin'?
Me, like wheelin', like off-roading.
Got it. Okay, yeah.
Because I said it's cringe when people say wheelin'.
Right.
I've been listening since around episode 78 or 79. I'm a total sucker, and a hobby of mine is being scammed by young white male elitist Californians. But I made some stuff for you guys. Cool. Since nothing is true until it's on a shirt, the world can never know now you never miss clicking a file. Okay, let's work on that sentence there. The coasters have your spin-off pod's name on them. The cutting board is to show off those skillet, seared, oven-cooked steaks that I 100% approve of. Keep up the good work, lads, and have a great Christmas, and hope Bobby... I didn't read this part. And hope Bobby K never crawls into your cubicle. Allegedly, Activision.
Yes, allegedly. Of course.
Dadtical.
This is an excellent note.
Made by Huss Beast Manufacturing. So here's the shirt. I'll show off the shirt. And of course the shirt is a take on the "we never misclick a file." There's a little reticle over a file. So we got 2 of those lovely shirts. That is actually
sick as fuck, dude.
I think that's what the other one is. Yeah, so we have 2 of those. We don't misclick files, of course.
What sizes are we working with on those tees?
Oh boy, let's take a peek. We got a large and a large. So you're large and a medium.
Let's go. He's such a king, dude.
The letter is not handwritten, it's typed, so you don't care about us that much. Next up here, I'm of course keeping this because there's only one and you don't cook. So I get a nice Dropshot little engraved cutting board. Look at that. What is that called?
That is clean, what is that dude. Called?
Is it engraved? I guess that's considered engraved.
No.
Burned? What is that called when they burn it? When they burn it on that sucker?
Etched, maybe?
Etched, but it's wood. I don't know.
Little etching?
Of course, this is related to our spin-off pod. One of the best items I've ever seen in my life is a coaster. I'll hold that up for Raz to see.
Oh, dude!
So it is a... It says, "The Fuck Jaren Call of Duty podcast," and our exact logo, but he changed Dropshot to Fuck Jaren, which is of course one of our dog shit patrons.
Letters, yeah.
Fuck so we got 4 of those. So Raz and I can split those.
That is
I will
gorgeous.
never drink whiskey. I will never place a whiskey cup on anything other than this again in my life. This is the only thing I will be using. So that's fantastic, of course. Someone screenshot this right now, please, and post this in Discord and tag Jaren. Do that right now.
Yeah, you guys gotta tag
for a few seconds.
God, that's fantastic, dude.
Get that sucker in Discord. And that's it. So, Dactical, thank you very much. Crazy we received something. I can't believe it. I can't believe we got something in the P.O. box.
I'm shocked and awed.
Yeah. So, thank you guys very much. Those are excellent little items there. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Dactical, that is a wonderful Christmas gift. Just fantastic. Can you pull up the note again? What is the name of his new enterprise?
His new enterprise is
and engraving company.
Huss Beast Manufacturing. I don't know how it's working. I thought he may have had a website or something. I'm not sure.
Huss Beasts?
HUSBEAST. He does have his own website. He should have put that on there. I don't think he did. So his website is husbeastmfg.com. 3D
Yes,
printing and other stuff. Laser engraving, other items, vinyl stickers. So yeah, contact him. He'll make you some shit.
Yeah. This great website, by the way. Fantastic website. Yeah.
Yeah, that is cute.
Yeah, so he used his professional skills to give us a Fuck Jaren coaster, which is probably the best use of a business's time and resources I can think of. Dadsicle, thank you very much, dude. That's fucking fantastic. It's an excellent little item gift. I liked the note as well. We do indeed really appreciate it. And fuck Jaren.
Absolutely,
once again.
fuck Jaren, yeah.
Husbeastmfg.com. If you guys need some 3D printing and other crazy shit like that, check him out. Support a member of the community, longtime member of the community. You know?
Yeah.
So
solid.
Anyway, very solid. Thank you, Dadsicle. You're a king. And to our donors, our new patrons, our new members as well.
Yes.
All right. With that, other than that, I think that's it for announcements.
No, that's for sure longer than it'll take to get through this next part, I think.
Yeah. Stay humble.
Yeah. Basically. Oh, man.
What a fantastic fucking item, dude. Holy shit. Welcome, boys and girls, to the program. Today, we are talking about Call of Duty. A little bit. So first, we got some patch notes, changes already in effect. Not much has changed since we last covered patch notes and stuff, because we actually did this on Saturday rather than Wednesday, or Thursday. So it hasn't even been a week since we did a kind of a news and patent changes episode. And even if it had been a week, I mean, it's still a week after a reloaded patch, so not much has changed, but a couple things have that are really big and important. So in terms of quantity, not many changes to the game. In terms of impact, though, quite a bit. This is pretty much all related to Warzone, but we have a couple other things first. I want to start with not Warzone, though. Building 21 is active for a limited time, is one such change that has happened in the past few days. Now, this is, if you guys recall, an area of DMZ that is restricted. It's hard to get into, I guess. You have to get like a particular key card that's only accessible in DMZ, and then Building 21 is only accessible likewise through DMZ. And the only thing I had heard about this on the TL anyway was Charlie Intel tweeting this 3 days ago. I was like, huh, that's weird. So then I went to JGod's YouTube, because I know he's a DMZ player. I check it every week anyway, but he had done a whole ass YouTube video about his experience in Building 21. There wasn't really any context. He basically just said like, hey guys, here's Building 21. I don't have anything to say about it, but here's just like raw gameplay with our like voice comms. It's like an actual VOD of us in Building 21. Enjoy. That was it. Which is fine, because I don't think he really knew anything about it at the time. And I was watching it, and I was actually, shockingly, intrigued. It was the first time DMZ looked fairly engaging, and that was for two reasons. So, before I get into those, well, reason number one, and this also ties into just an observation I made. Building 21 is absolutely a Labs from Escape from Tarkov blatant ripoff. It looks not almost identical, but it looks incredibly similar to Labs, which is the high end, you need a key card to get in, high tier loot area of that game, Tarkov. Building 21 looks very similar, obviously inspired by Labs. There's no way it's a coincidence. It's like inside, it's well lit. There's a bluish hue. Everything's like state of the art looking. Yeah, even like the lighting is the same. Like it looks so much, the layout, it looks so much like Labs. I was like, huh, that's interesting. So I don't have a problem with that. I actually kind of liked it. It looks cool in there. And it does look like a special, like secret area type of thing. Like you can imagine.
Yeah, I get those vibes. I'm watching the video right now.
You can imagine this is what like a DARPA secret, like top secret research facility looks like, where they're manufacturing COVID-23 in, you know,
surely,
like allegedly. It looks like that, you know, which is a cool aesthetic. But another thing unrelated to Building 21 is one of J God's faction missions. And I know that he plays a lot of DMZ, so I know that this is a pretty deep faction mission. Two things. Number one, the fact that he's still working on doing any faction mission with how much he plays DMZ implies that there are actually a lot of faction missions to do that take a long time to get through. That's actually a note in the game mode's favor that intrigues me. Because the first couple of faction missions, which I've done, are so like dumb, boring, and trivial and easy that I was like, this is like a shit game mode. But the fact that he's even still doing faction missions with how much he plays got me kind of interested. I was like, huh, maybe it would be kind of fun to grind through all the DMZ missions or a bunch of them, because there's so many to do and they are on a progression track that get more and more difficult. And then another observation I made was the particular faction mission he was on, which was, or one of the components of which was, get 45 operator kills using a silenced assault rifle. That's a cool, fun, and relatively difficult, extremely difficult by DMZ standards, faction mission to have and work on. That, again, appeals to me a lot more than my initial impression of DMZ. So the fact of this place existing, I found fairly intriguing. And the fact of that faction mission and the context around it, which I just described, also got me pretty fucking intrigued. And I think I might, once I move, want to actually, like, in earnest, try and grind some DMZ. I don't know if we will. And this will depend on, basically on Tanner, because I'm not going to do it alone. But if I can get a crew and it starts to get fun, I could see DMZ being fun. Like if I was working on that faction mission and the reward is like a cool blueprint, I'll do it. That's one thing I don't know either, is like, what's the reward? Holy shit. What is the reward for that faction mission, for example? I don't know. But that intrigued me a lot. And Building 21, again, in and of itself, through the gameplay, it didn't seem like there was much crazy going on besides the fact that it was a new area.
They're supposedly supposed to be very difficult, the AI.
Okay. And you're taking a look at it a little bit right now.
I was just scrolling through it, yeah.
Yeah. You have any thoughts on this?
It is an interesting looking building for sure. It's an interesting looking place too. I mean, it's so different looking from Mazrah, of course, which I think is the main thing that makes it interesting. It really does feel like you're in a different place.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be some secret something. But yeah, he's definitely still grinding those DMZ missions. It does, it sounds interesting. There are, I think, a few missions like that where you have to kill other operators or something, but I don't know. It still just doesn't really seem to do it for me. Because we've known for a while that those missions were in. I've seen those before, like weeks ago, but
Yeah.
It's still just like, then you get to some of the missions, like he was on one that he was talking about on Twitter where it's like loot and extract with 40 of these items, and it's something like super rare. And just to do that 40 times, it's not fun. That's at the point where it's repetitive and not fun anymore when you have to do it that often.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, I don't know. Still doesn't really get me wanting to play the mode at all, but we should really, and we will give it a good chance sometime the next month or two, just so we can like talk about it too on the pod, see how our impressions change from early on and whatnot.
Yeah, what I'm guessing we'll end up doing is, because this always happens, this happens with every game, and it will eventually happen with Warzone too. It's going to get stale for us at some point where we're like, I've had enough for a while. I'm like waiting for the next season to drop or whatever, or a new map. And at that point, I think is when we'll do our DMZ incursion.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
I think that's probably realistically how we will do this. Because right now, I really want to play Warzone. I'm really into it. So as appealing as DMZ appears to be to me, it's not competing with Warzone 2 in my mind yet. But eventually, Warzone 2 will get stale enough to where it will. And at that point, we will do a little dive into DMZ and talk about it to whatever degree we end up playing it. But it's cool that it's, Building 21 is a cool little idea. And we just don't know that much about it, because Infinity Ward on the 20th, so a day after it was active, tweeted, Building 21 has entered lockdown after significant infiltration. Access cards are disabled, but will be operational within the week. Prepare accordingly.
Yeah, so we don't know if they're going to tell us when that is operational again, or if you have to find out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
so that's kind of cool too. That it was like a super limited time. I don't know if this was by design or if it was because there were flaws in Building 21. I don't really have many details on this. I didn't look into it too closely, to be honest.
Yeah, they certainly could play it off.
If the info wasn't on JGod's YouTube by today, which it wasn't, then it was going to be hard to find. And I don't even know if the info's out there. So I didn't spend too significant of a time looking into this, mostly because most of you aren't playing DMZ anyway. So, but when we get more info on this, we'll cover it next week or whenever it comes out. So
yeah.
And another little thing here, going to Warzone. First of all, third person BR is back in the form of trios. So if you like third person, you can play it in trios only, which I guess is fine. I think it was trios when it originally got introduced.
Yeah, it was.
So they could have changed the number there.
Yeah, I think we have 3 trios playlists right now.
Yeah.
Which is
so
weird.
Whatever. And now on to some bigger changes. We got 2 other changes to Warzone. We've ordered these 2 in terms of gravity. So first one. This was after Season 1 Reloaded. This was on the 19th. Loadout weapons and buy stations now cost, instead of $5,000, $2,500. This is dirt fucking cheap. So you can now go to a buy station at any time and buy one of your loadout guns for $2,500. And that makes them wildly accessible.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about this on our last Patreon episode, our first impressions, which will be going live on Saturday publicly. So you'll all be able to hear it then. Patrons can already hear that episode now. To remind you, patreon.com/Dropshot, best way to support the show. Overall, I'll summarize my thoughts on this. I like it because you might think this makes a loadout weapon too accessible. And then you might think, well, what's the point of getting an actual proper loadout? Well, perks are significant in this game. Perks have always been significant in Warzone. But you might think, well, I can either buy my entire 2 loadout guns for $5,000 total, or I can go through all the labor of getting a loadout. Why bother getting a loadout anymore? Well, for perks, which are huge, which are arguably more important now than they were in Caldera. because you don't have balloons anymore. And you don't have fast travel systems anymore. So having double time, for example, might be really important. Or just for winning gunfights. In an LMG meta, perks are more important than in an AR meta for access to fast hands.
Exactly. That's the biggest one.
So there are very, very big incentives to getting a loadout, and I don't think lowering the cost of an individual weapon to 2,500 trivializes a loadout itself. So overall, I'm quite in favor of this. But again, we go into more detail on the episode that's going to go live on Saturday. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference so far is I will grab a gun early on now. If you land anywhere close to a buy, it's kind of a play you can even do now, is land where you know a buy is instead of like a contract or something. Loot a few buildings. You may or may not have enough to buy a gun to get one gun, and then right there that kind of speeds up the game, makes you want to push other teams who probably still have ground loot at that point, because I don't know how many people are just buying their guns that quickly. But it's interesting for that matter. And then, of course, with medium backpacks now having 3 slots, you can buy a sniper or something else and keep it in there. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. So it's an interesting change for sure, adding more ability to use your custom guns, which I think everyone wants pretty much. Maybe not, actually. A lot of people seem to not want the custom guns, or at least loadouts for some reason. But it's nice having your custom guns that you spend all this time grinding for and unlocking in multiplayer. It's nice to just be able to get those for so cheap and use them right away, and then all game. So that's been fun for me. And then, wait, did you talk about the loadout drop yet?
No.
Okay.
I will right now, though. But okay, yeah. So again, we go into way more detail on the episode that's going live Saturday. But another thing, when we were covering Season 1 Reloaded patch notes last week, we noticed that they said medium backpacks can now carry a weapon in them, allowing you to carry a total of 3 weapons. But it was under DMZ, so we weren't sure if that applied to DMZ only, or to both Warzone and DMZ. In case you haven't noticed, it does apply to Warzone now. So if you get a medium backpack in Warzone, it now has a weapon slot in the backpack, so you can carry a total of 3 weapons in Warzone if you get a medium or large backpack. This is actually kind of a big deal, especially if you're a drop strat enjoyer, because when you do a stronghold, everyone gets a medium backpack, or pretty much everyone. I think everyone.
Yeah, usually everyone.
And if a loadout weapon's only $2,500, well, you can pick up your loadout from completing a stronghold, pick up the medium backpack, go to a buy station, you have $300,000, you can buy a 3rd weapon, no problem, and put it in your backpack, which is actually quite a big deal, particularly for sniping, which again, we talk about more on Saturday, but it does raise the viability of snipers, in my opinion, especially with how accessible medium backpacks are if you're doing strongholds. The downside of having a sniper when you only have access to 2 weapons, especially in Warzone 2 where you can't one-shot headshot someone who is fully armored, is that you're kind of fucked late game because you really only have 1 weapon if you're sniping.
Yeah.
Because you can't use your sniper effectively in the last circle.
No, not at all.
And if you get a kill with a sniper in the very late game when the circle's small, that's cool, and I'm happy for you. But you would have gotten that kill even easier if you just had an AR or SMG or whatever. But now, with medium backpacks, you can snipe all game, and then once it gets to late game, throw your sniper in your backpack, have an AR and an SMG, and you're like Bing chilling. And now it's very, very easy and accessible to do that in a way that was not the case before. And this is something I had postulated a long time ago, is that if you can put weapons in your backpack, sniping specifically would get way more attractive. This is before we even knew how the looting system worked besides like backpacks existing.
Yeah.
And now it's coming to light, or now it is the case rather, that actually is a viable strategy. And you and I think Jake have already been doing that. Is that correct?
Well, Jake's been doing a lot. I tried it for the first time yesterday. I think I spent too much time thinking about it and swapping to it. I think I should just leave it in my backpack until you get to a certain position or certain time in the zone where I'm like, okay, this will be really good for sniping. Because I kept like swapping ahead of time, and then some guy would be out of range where I honestly could have beamed him with my RAL, but instead I was like, oh, I'm going to try sniping because I have it. And then I just would either miss the guy or hit him, 3 plates broken, and then he'd get in cover, played up. So I definitely think it has a place because you have a free slot. You should just buy your sniper and take it. But I think I wasted too much time like just swapping to it in situations where I shouldn't have. So that was more on me. So I'm definitely going to do that more. And anytime I have a backpack, I'm pretty much going to do that. That or the grenade launcher, which I think is actually better to carry than a sniper, honestly. But you can't always get
That's
those.
what Jax has been doing, which is a smart-ass idea.
Yeah, I was running the grenade launcher a lot when you can only have 2 guns too, and it's insane. I mean, 2 shots down a fully plated person, maybe even 1 shot at times it seems, but
especially
sure
if you're doing like bounties and you know they're in a building and you know what floor they're on, like you can kill like a whole fucking team.
It's nuts.
Yeah,
it is nuts. So. I think I'm gonna obviously play with it a lot more, continue to put the sniper in there, but I think made bad decisions on when to pull it out instead of my just using my LMG that I had.
I think there will be an art to that because if you're like you said, if you're wasting a bunch of time constantly like switching which weapon you have equipped, then the juice is kind of not worth the squeeze. I feel like the main purpose of it, honestly, would be have the medium backpack, buy the sniper, and then pretty much like commit to sniping for quite a while for like the whole mid game pretty much. And then once it's getting late game, or if you're specifically like pushing a building too or something, you start swapping out. But like don't do it on a case by case basis, you know? I don't know though. Yeah. I'd have to try this strat more as well.
Yeah.
To kind of dial that in.
And like yesterday I got myself killed doing that. We were in downtown. Yeah. We were at one of those buildings where there's elevators in it. It's the building that's north of High Rise. There's another tall one there that has a couple zips on the outside, an elevator inside. Jake was like on top of the building or somewhere else. Yeah, Jake was on top of the building. So I'm like, oh, okay. I had fallen off. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get back in, run up. So I go downstairs. I'm like, I think I hear footsteps. And I had out my RAL and my sniper because I had been on the roof and I was going back up to the roof. So I hear footsteps and I have my RAL out, and then all of a sudden some guy is 15 feet away shooting at me with an SMG, and then I'm just fucked. So then I was like cracked. I try to get around the corner, and then I, like an asshole, I have my backpack open, trying to swap one of my guns for an SMG. I swap it in time. I get it out. I hadn't played it up because I was trying to get a better gun out. The guy runs around the corner and kills me when I have no plates. So it's just more I'm trying to force the use of the sniper instead of already being in a position where I know it's going to be good and then be like, okay, I'm going to pull out my sniper now. I was just forcing it too much.
Yeah, I could see that happening. But I think with practice, like we were saying,
skill issue kind of for
dial
sure.
that in. Yeah, outskilled. Yeah, I think if you are swapping to the sniper, you're swapping out your AR, right?
Generally, yeah. But that time I had the LMG and sniper out because I was going to be on the roof.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And that was like the one time that I had it out and it got me killed because I got caught. Didn't know there was, there's fucking 3 guys down there and I had no clue.
Yeah. If you're on a roof, I would have done the same thing and then gotten punished in the same way. Yeah. I can totally see that.
It's that one roof where you always mantle the ledge and then fall off of it because the ledge is 4 inches wide and then you just fly off of it on accident. Cool.
Classic.
Yeah.
So anyway. And now on to the surprisingly divisive change to Warzone. Raven tweeted 2 days ago on the 20th, some dog shit. You can buy buy stations now. So loadout drop, you can buy loadouts now. Loadout drop grenades are currently enabled in BR for players to purchase. The price changes depending on the squad size, but for each teammate, per squad, the price is 8,000 more. So solos is 8K, 16, 24K, and then quads 32K. So 8K per person. The continuity of this feature, Raven adds, will depend on feedback we receive and overall impact on the BR experience in Warzone 2. In the meantime, enjoy. So first of all, shout out to Raven for talking. That's cool, because Infinity Ward doesn't tweet. They don't know how to. And every time Infinity Ward's tweeted, I have a new theory. It's a Raven developer hacking Infinity Ward's Twitter.
You think? They're hacking him?
I don't think Infinity Ward's... I literally don't think they're capable of talking to their consumers.
You think Joe Seacott is aware they have a Twitter account?
Joe Apricot does not have two-factor authentication, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't... I don't think he knows anything.
Shout out to Joe Seacott.
Joe Apricot. Enemy of the pod, spit gift.
The biggest enemy of the pod, yeah.
Anyway, so loadouts are in, and there's been discourse on the TL. A lot of people there's some people I'm seeing that are mad because they liked that it was like a more traditional BR experience and that they're backtracking that. And then there's another camp of people who are mad because they are saying, like Charlie Intel is one of these people, and I've seen multiple tweets like this. If you guys were just going to go back to the better formula, which is buyable loadouts, earlier loadouts, more like Warzone 1, more accessible. If you guys were going to do that anyway, why did you wait until now when a bunch of players have already quit your game just to do what you were going to do anyway, which is make like loadouts buyable, for example? So there's that camp too, where people are like mad that because they should have done this sooner. There's the people that are mad that they did it at all. And then there's the third camp where I'm at, where I'm just like, cool. This is a good change. I don't care how it relates to Warzone 1. I care about whether it's a good change or not. And this does seem to be a good change. Now, a lot of people, myself included, initially saw that a Lodi in quads was 32,000 and laughed and said, this is absurd. Why the fuck would I ever buy a loadout for 32K when I can just do a stronghold and then have a loadout? Because again, or not again, but, and we talk about this more on Saturday. How the fuck are you getting 32K in Warzone 2? Like, the only way to do that quickly at all is to just do a stronghold. But at that point, you already have a loadout anyway. So a lot of people weren't seeing the point, which I kind of agree with. But my point, which I talk about again more on Saturday, is I can see this being relevant late game. So for example, in quads, since you can't buy anything at buy stations, everyone has like 20K on them in quads. So then if we get in a team fight and one of us dies and gets bought back, well, now buyable loadouts is relevant because all the free loadies are in gas. All the strongholds are in gas. So the only way to get loadout would be to buy one. And even if they're 32K, well, I have a bunch of money late game anyway as a 4-man. And I have nothing else I want to spend the money on anyway. So I might as well buy a Lodi for my teammate that died, or 2. That, I think, is the real utility, at least for quads, of buyable Lodis. But this does not change how you get a loadout drop early on in the game. You'll never buy your first loadout, in other words. That's how this is different than Warzone 1. I just don't see you buying your first loadout unless you're down tremendously. Because you're just going to do a stronghold instead, or just get the free drop in second circle instead. Because those things will both happen far before you get 32K, besides doing a stronghold that early.
Exactly.
So that's kind of been my take. But I don't know how that translates to solos, duos, and trios. Particularly solos and duos. I don't know.
Yeah, so
what are your thoughts on this?
I was playing trios yesterday with Jake and Bandit, and we had cleared a stronghold, killed the guys there, got our loadout. Bandit hit the loadout. He ended up dying after that. So we had so much money from that stronghold. The free loadouts had already dropped, but we were like on like the southeast side of downtown, and the loadouts in mid-circle was like all over peak, essentially. And so we had so much money, we were like, oh, let's just buy a loadout here. So we opened the buy station. Smile, it's not 24K for trios, it's 32 because it's bugged, supposedly. They said it was supposed to be 24. So that was the one situation we were going to buy. That was probably, I guess, late second circle, early third circle, maybe. And so we were going to buy one there. But it's like, yeah, we only had that money because we had already hit the stronghold. And even then, 2 of the 3 of us already had our loadouts.
we could have easily just gone for the other one, but I was like, we have all this money, let's just buy him an easy loadout here, so then we can push and be fine. But we couldn't because of that issue. So, like in a situation like that, that would have been the first time. Other than that, I haven't bought a loadout yet, and I still haven't seen a scenario where I would do that early game at all. I think it is only going to be something like mid to late game.
Yeah.
Unless you're just playing the game some odd way, like fucking looting and doing contracts the whole time, and then also not getting your free loadout because you're scared to go for it and you're trying to play it safe, and then you finally get enough money together and then go buy one. I don't know. That sounds miserable, but I'm sure there are people out there that play that way.
Yeah, you could do 2 safecrackers and probably have enough, but
I don't think 2 would be. You think that would give you enough? I feel like you'd have to do 3 contracts.
Well, I mean, doing 2 safecrackers and like looting other shit while you do it.
Yeah,
I think you'd probably get about 32k. Yeah, but yeah, like why would you do that? Yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, again, we talk way more about this on Saturday. But for all of you clowning on this, saying it's like absurd and pointless, it's not. It's just that it's different than Warzone 1. In Warzone 1, the first loadout you would get would be to buy one, but that's just not the case anymore. But this still does serve a purpose, I think. And I think we could quibble about the prices. I just need to play more to kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't think it's a terrible change.
No, I'm glad they added them back in. It's interesting though too, because they said this feature will depend on the feedback we receive and overall impact on the BR experience. So it's like they may remove it entirely, is how they make it sound, or it's kind of weird because it's like they put it at such a high price, and then I wonder if they'll see that like no one's buying them, so then they'll just remove them again. But it's because people aren't buying them because of the price issue or something. I don't really know. But it almost seems like one of those things where like, okay, you guys want to be able to buy loadouts, here you go. We're adding it for this extremely high price, and you'll never actually get one, and then we'll just remove it because our data shows that 3% of the player base is buying a loadout drop ever. So we're just going to remove it and then push our AI strongholds even more. Smile.
Right. XD. Yeah. And then that's it. But one thing I want to mention, I'm surprised I've never thought of this. They should make this quality of life change, which they won't. Just take money from my teammates if I don't have enough on my character. Like if I want to go buy a loadout and our team combined has 50k, but I only have 20k on me, just take the money from my teammates also when I'm at the buy station. That should be a thing, right?
What do you mean? So like you don't even have to be there to buy it?
Someone has to approach the buy station. Let's say I'm at the buy and you are not, and I want to buy a loadout, but I don't have enough money on my character.
Yeah.
But if we combined our money, we would. Then it lets me buy the loadout. It takes all my money, and then it takes the rest that I need from you automatically, even though you're not there.
No. Yeah, no.
Why not?
Well, to start, that would be miserable if you're playing random fills. People would just be fucking buying shit when you're also maybe somewhere else trying to buy something.
That's like the only problem.
It's just you should have to play with your team and throw your money together rather than just being all be in other areas of the map. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think it makes any sense at all.
Yeah, maybe it could be OP.
In fact, it's one of the dumbest things you've ever said, I think.
No, I've said dumber things.
You think? Yeah, it's possible for sure.
Maybe for like splitting and shit, it would be too busted. I don't know.
I would just grief you guys and buy a bunch of suppression mines or something and waste your money as you're on the other side of the map trying to buy yourself a loadout. Man.
That would be kind of funny. Yeah, maybe it's not a good idea. I don't know.
It's the worst, actually, yeah.
Something to think of.
It's not. I actually don't want that to ever come up in my mind again. I'm being honest with you.
I would prefer it. But it might be unbalanced in some way. Yeah. I'd have to think about it more. It doesn't matter because it'll never happen.
It's a thought no one's ever had for sure. So you should work at Raven. No one's
ever had. Yeah.
They would probably love the idea. Ted would implement it day one.
Ted would love that idea. You think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a Ted idea.
I would like it. I think.
I think money it's kind of an accessibility issue because some people are broke and others are rich. You should just be able to buy whatever you want whenever you want. Everything should be free.
Cash pool.
Yeah. So
everyone shares money. Yeah.
True. That would be more balanced. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's it for patch notes, news, and for patch notes and changes that are already in effect. I checked in with Exclusive Ace and JGod. They had nothing to say about hidden patch notes.
Did some check-ins, huh?
There probably are some hidden patch notes. This was a big patch, but we just don't know about them yet. So
yeah. Hey fellas, this episode of the Dropshot is brought to you by our favorite producers of bald trimmers, MANSCAPED. The global leaders in below-the-waist grooming are leaving 2022 with brand new products. Persevere Cologne and Persevere Body Wash. 2023 is the year to up your hygiene game and smell amazing. And Manscaped wants to help you do so with a special offer. Use code DROPSHOT for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Take a leap into the new year and join the 7 million men who already trust Manscaped. 2023 is on its way out, and the last thing you want to be is the guy with pubes getting in your way of making it our best yet. The Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 is the leader of the Performance Package 4.0, or as I call it, the perfect package for my little package. Manscaped's engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. This new year, shave those loose pines off your wood with the best tool for the job, the Signature Lawnmower 4.0 from Manscaped. It's here to take down every pube in its path. I think confidence is going to be king in 2023. You know what else I'm confident about? Smelling like $1 million. $1 million, guys. You asked and Manscaped answered. We have introduced the brand new Manscaped Persevere Body Wash and Cologne. Talk about being clean, feeling, and smelling good. The body wash from Manscaped solves all three for the perfect addition to your daily grooming routine, but in the shower. This body wash has a light woodsy scent and is infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized. And the cologne is like the body wash with a light woodsy scent that answers the call of the wild by leaving you smelling like a man forged right from the earth. Is cruelty-free, dye-free, paraben-free, and vegan, so you know you're getting it in the right hands and you're smelling right. Use code DROPSHOT for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. 2023 is on its way. The woods are here and smell amazing. Are you ready to jump in and join me with Manscaped? Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DROPSHOT at manscaped.com. 20% off with free shipping. Manscaped.com. Use code DROPSHOT. Happy New Year to your balls.
Now, on to news and upcoming changes.
Yeah.
And
to
there
start
are a
off
couple
here,
little items, but not too much. Yeah,
there's not much. So to start us off here, the hot topic lately has been Ravens taking over Warzone. Infinity Ward does not control Warzone anymore. Blah blah blah. So that's been the rumor. It's been the rumor going around because Raven has been tweeting a lot. So I follow the head of PR, director, influencer relations, something like that. Head of PR, influencer, some bullshit. On Twitter, his name is Robert Taylor. He works for Activision. So Lucci tweeted out a few days ago, I wish Raven had control of Warzone 2 from day one. We forced a bunch of people to quit the game and never come back for what? Just to bring all the stuff back anyways. So he said this is coming from an Activision employee. He says, the two studios were always and are currently working closely together. And he said some other things where basically he said, you know, people put their hatred on one studio, but like in reality, internally, they're all very closely working together and people should stop hating on one specific studio because that's not how it operates internally or something like that.
Wrong.
Yeah, anyway, surely it seems that way, right? So, yeah. So that's kind of just, that's something coming from an Activision employee regarding that Raven has taken over. That doesn't seem to be the case, or he's just lying, which is also very possible for an Activision employee to do to us. There's no skill-based matchmaking in large player count game modes, according to the head of Infinity Ward.
Never been retracted.
But yeah, so that's kind of interesting to see an employee kind of clear the air there, I guess. Because I mean, it's obviously it's obvious. You'd have to be a dumb shit to think Infinity Ward's not working on this game. I talked about that one of the last episodes. I'm like, they didn't spend the last 2 or 3 years designing Warzone 2 to already have nothing to do with it. They have a lot to do with it. I think
yeah, of course. It's
just Raven is mostly handling the communication, and it's probably kind of like an internal little debate. I bet Infinity Ward didn't want loadouts, and Raven was like, well, maybe we should try them. People seem to want them. We use Twitter from time to time, so we kind of see what players want. So Infinity Ward's like, okay, I guess add them in for 400 billion rubles to the buy station and see if anyone can ever gather enough cash to ever buy one, and we'll go from there. So Raven's like, all right, and then they tweet it out. So That's kind of just confirming. They are still working on it together. Raven does not have control, or they're not the only ones working on Warzone. They probably will be at some point, essentially. They probably will be about 10 months from now or so. They'll be in total
Something
control.
like that, probably.
But as of now, they're, according to Activision employee, they are still working closely together. Infinity Ward is definitely still involved in Warzone.
This should be super obvious to anyone, by the way.
Well, there are literally people that think Infinity Ward already... I mean, there's a lot of people that think Infinity Ward has nothing to do with Warzone already, and it's literally it's just total
that's
Raven.
So crazy.
Yeah, so people think that.
That's such a crazy thing to think, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. This is not surprising at all.
Yeah, so that's kind of just to clear the air there.
Yeah.
Moving on here, little article from Thomas Henderson, insidergaming.com. So I don't know what this means, I'm going to be honest. But we're going to talk about this. So the article is titled, let me actually move this box up here on this monitor. The article is titled from insider-gaming.com. Check them out. Could Warzone 2's Building 21 be hidden in Verdansk? Oh, no.
Oh.
No. There's no bigger mystery in the world of Warzone right now than Building 21. This mysterious location emerged as a drop-in location for DMZ a few days ago. Stayed online for a few hours and promptly disappeared again. While players were inside Building 21, it proved to be a grueling location offering up tough as nails bosses, high-value rewards, and sprawling internal maps spread out over 3 floors. Wow. If you're a fan of Escape from Tarkov, this is DMZ's version of Labs. Now, a theory that has emerged suggesting that Building 21 isn't even within the confines of Mazrah, which I think they confirmed. They said it's not in Mazrah, the new map. As per the theory, Building 21 is located in the crater that was once Verdansk.
That is a spicy red
I'm going to pull
take.
this up. You guys can see it. Don't know what this image means. I've been trying to figure out what this is getting at. So it says one user uploaded images to Twitter that revealed something quite cryptic. When a player loaded into the Building 21 map, a mini-map was shown for a brief moment that seemed to depict an overlay over the top of Building 21. This reveals two things. Building 21 is absolutely enormous compared to the overlay, and Building 21 sits in Verdansk right where downtown was. Either that or it's underneath the crater that was formed when the nuke decimated Verdansk over a year ago. In the image, you can see red lines. These directly correspond with roads running on both the overlay and the top-down map of Verdansk. However, the clearest evidence is in the buildings on the map. They're unmistakably the same in both pictures.
Whoa.
So that's kind of, I guess, a theory going around now. This image is from Modinas HD, I guess. You guys can see it here. Not very well, but go to insidergaming.com and read the article. But basically, this overlay on the left-hand side here, I guess, is the same layout of all of these buildings that were at downtown.
Dude, if you go to Twitter, too, and go in the replies, one guy says, the crater in the mini-map that the pictures we just looked at is in the exact same spot as where the missile locked in the cutscene that ended Verdansk. So it's like right where the impact was, according to that like cutscene of Verdansk being destroyed or whatever.
Damn.
This is basically confirmed based on this evidence. Because yeah, why would the buildings be in exactly the same spot? Unless this guy is fabricating this, because I've never loaded into DMZ, then this seems to be true. The question for me is, if this is in Verdansk, does that matter at all besides being a cute little Easter egg? That's the real question.
Yeah.
Because if it's technically in Verdansk, but you can't leave Building 21 and you're not going to ever play on actual Verdansk at all, then who cares? You could say it's on Mars. It doesn't really change anything.
Yeah.
Other than having the knowledge that you're in Verdansk, technically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what people are getting at is they're thinking this is a hint that there's some version of Verdansk that is coming back into Warzone next year. So in the form of a destroyed Verdansk, on some sort of LTM lore thing, something for DMZ. I don't know, because it's obviously it was never a thing that they were going to bring back Verdansk during Caldera. People wanted that. That wasn't going to happen. But with how many people they still see talking about bringing back Verdansk, it is possible they were maybe designing another map at some point, another large map, and they thought, well, you know what? These fucking dumb shits want Verdansk so bad, let's bring it back in its nuked form or something, destroyed form. That's maybe since
it's a little bit after it's been destroyed and maybe it's under construction again or something. So it's a different map, but it's also still Verdansk to, give people that little dopamine hit that they want so badly.
And that seems to be the implication, because why would they put it in Verdansk just to say it's in Verdansk? I mean, I guess they could do that, and that would be fine, and I wouldn't really care. But it does seem to be hinting that Verdansk is coming back in another way besides COD Mobile in some capacity.
And that has just been the other topic, like Scott said. Verdansk is coming back in COD Mobile. It is possible this is just some lore event, which will then lead into, COD Mobile, Verdansk. But it's like, we already know it's Verdansk, so I don't know. That would be kind of weird, I guess. I'm not sure. So who knows? Maybe the next time Building 21 opens, there will be some other weird little cryptic image or something that people figure out from that, and they're going to keep doing that as some sort of little Easter egg. Who knows? It's kind of interesting there.
It is interesting. One thing I will say, though, is people who really love Verdansk probably, I haven't seen this yet, but I'm assuming this is what's happening from some segment of the population, is that they are so excited and they want Verdansk back so badly that they are thinking, maybe Verdansk is coming back in its post missile form to like Warzone 2 at some point.
Yeah.
And I could see that being the case. And also, I would be totally okay with that, because the fact that it was impacted by a fucking nuclear strike or whatever happened means you can really change how the map plays and is balanced, but then still call it Verdansk.
Exactly.
So that you can get both the nostalgia from everyone who wants Verdansk back, but also just a better BR map than Verdansk originally was, because they have an opportunity to change so much, given that it's the post-bombed Verdansk. They could bring back Verdansk after it's been bombed and have it be super well-balanced and well-made and more fun as a BR map itself, which I think I would be totally okay with that. I would be totally okay with that, because you could use this opportunity to improve the play space a lot, especially because it's downtown that got destroyed, which was like one of the big offenders. Hopefully Promenade is the building 7 of Verdansk, and it got fucking leveled also, even though it wasn't impacted. Black helicopters, jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams, which did 9/11. Those are all jokes.
Allegedly.
Anyway, the CIA killed JFK. So it's apparently not a joke. I haven't read it yet, but I've been seeing tweets about that. Anyways, I think that would be kind of cool. I would be totally okay with that, depending on how well they revamp Verdansk to be a better BR map.
Yeah, and there's another theory going around. I don't really know anything about it, but I guess Geeky Pastimes, who I think is like a zombies lore guy, thinks it has something to do with zombies as well.
Interesting.
Because I guess there are zombies involved in the DMZ storyline. I don't know. That's what I saw someone say, but I haven't heard anything about that besides that. And then also, before the game launched, there were leaked images in-game that showed like zombie icons and stuff and like different game modes that definitely involved zombies. So, maybe that's coming at some point.
And there was the zombies events on Verdansk, including on that boat.
Mm-hmm.
Or ship or whatever. That was like outside of Halloween. So
that's true.
I could see them rolling that in. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep.
A lot of questions still, but...
Yeah. So moving on here. Modern Warfare 2 is nominated for Steam's Game of the Year award. Jesus Christ.
Beta.
Here's what
year,
Steam
maybe.
says about it. Maybe it was its immersive gameplay, or its gripping story, its well-crafted characters, immaculate design, or addictive multiplayer. Whatever the reason, the winner of this year's Game of the Year award is an instant classic, and it has been nominated. This shouldn't be a hot take. A COD game should never be nominated for Game of the Year. When there are studios that spend 5+ years developing a working and perfect single-player video game with insane depth, a crazy storyline, Call of Duty should never, ever be nominated as a Game of the Year. It's a cookie-cutter first-person shooter that hasn't changed much in 20 years.
COD shouldn't
Yeah.
be a game of the year. So they won't win. They shouldn't win. I'll riot
They
if
might,
they do.
but they shouldn't.
But
Yeah.
why is COD always getting nominated for these things, man? They don't. The studio doesn't
I agree
deserve
with
it.
you. I feel like games like COD, Battlefield, Halo,
No shooter
games
game like
that come out every once in a while that are primarily multiplayer games should just be in a separate category. It should be like Steam's multiplayer game of the year or something.
Yeah, there's certain
It
things.
like literally belongs in it. It's like a different type of game than like Elden Ring.
Exactly. It's like something like Fortnite that came out of nowhere and became the most popular game in the world very quickly. Something like that is deserving of a game of the year. COD doing the same shit every year. Why are they being nominated for game of the year? Stop.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
It's insane.
Especially with how unfinished it still is months after release.
Yeah.
Like
Elden Ring
crazy.
was on Steam, right? Or was it
Yes.
not? Okay, so something like that should win over COD every single day.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, they won't win, but it's fun. Yeah, I think they just get nominated for all these awards because it's like probably Bobby's up there shaking hands with some guy, and that's why they get nominated for Sound of
palms,
the Year.
Yeah.
Donating to that guy's something campaign, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, last little thing here from Charlie Intel. A group of 10 gamers in the United States jointly filed a lawsuit asking a court to block Microsoft's acquisition of Blizzard. Not a company nor a business, 10 gamers. And that's it. That's the tweet.
That's
kind of funny to try to troll them or something. If that actually holds them up, it's kind of a troll move to do. We should have thought of that, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there we go. It won't matter, but I thought that was funny. Just 10 random guy. 10
I
Battlefield
wonder
2042 stands came together to block the acquisition.
These guys have God of War Ragnarok Ultra Heroic Edition, where it cost $2,000 and it came with like a life-size statue of Kratos you could jerk off. And they're real big fucking Sony purists.
Yeah.
And they don't want COD or fucking any other game.
Does
I guess.
come out when you jerk them off?
Not going to PlayStation anymore. I don't know. I don't know what the lore is there. It's a good question though.
Yeah.
Might be like dragon breath or something.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know how they do it over there.
Cool. Nice.
But
stay humble.
That is weird. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Anything else?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas to you guys. Happy holidays is cringe, so don't say that.
Thanks for the
Merry
people that
Christmas.
donated to us. If you didn't donate to us, then we don't like you, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Don't have a Merry
So
Christmas.
on Saturday, as a reminder, we will not be live, but we have a podcast episode, season 1 reloaded, first/second impressions, scheduled to go live here on YouTube on Saturday at 12 o'clock Pacific time. It's going to be a premiere, so you won't be able to skip forward. You can watch it live. You can chat with people, but it will be pre-recorded. That is also scheduled to go live on podcast apps on your feed on Saturday, again at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So stay tuned for that, but we won't be technically live. Tanner's going to be out of town, and that'll be on Christmas Eve this Saturday. And a reminder again to those of you who are patrons, you already have access to this episode. It is bonus episode 118, Patreon gone public. So we will not be talking to you guys until after Christmas. So have a happy, Merry Christmas, or whatever the fuck you celebrate. Enjoy it, get drunk, fight your in-laws, debate politics.
Yes, bring
Talk
up
about
politics.
the JFK assassination by the CIA. That seems to be fairly nonpartisan 50 years after the fact, or at least I would hope so. And longer than 50, I don't know. I don't care. And yeah, it's been a great year. We will see you guys next week. Keep your eyes on the Twitter or in the Discord for our schedule. We'll be posting on Monday. Closing out this month strong. We got one more Patreon episode in the works. We're going to record it tomorrow and release it probably Saturday or Sunday morning. And once again, patreon.com/thedropshot. If you wanted to support the show, if you wanted bonus episodes, if you wanted ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and more, that is the best way to support the program. Patreon.com/thedropshot. For all the donations, really thank you guys and appreciate you. Dad's Cool again, big shout out to you for your P.O.
Fuck
box very generous gift. Fuck Jaren indeed. Thank you for watching and listening. Stay humble.
Stay super humble.